in the world, government want to make sure that if their people cannot have anything else, at least they should have food. Food is essential for human survival, and therefore it is very essential that government should ensure that their population have food. And therefore, we as a party believe that Malawi should have adequate food. It doesn't make sense that Malawi should go around in the world begging with a ball in the hand, begging for food. Because let us face it, Malawi is an agricultural economy. Agriculture is the backbone of the economy, and therefore it is imperative that this should be reflected in our having adequate food for Malawians. The second point of Assembly for Democracy and Development is that Malawians should have adequate food. They may not have any motor vehicles, they may not have anything else, but they should have adequate food. Malawians should be well fed. Malawians should have nutrition at its best as a minimum requirement above everything else. As a party, we are saddened to notice that food security did not feature very highly in the speech. The bit that I can pick out, the speech touched on agriculture, was on commercialization of agriculture, that there is about $260 million for commercialization of agriculture. But you see, the problem regarding food security with that element is that almost all commercial farmers in Malawi avoid growing maize. If there are any commercial farmers that grow maize, there may be a handful, very little. All the maize that we eat in this country is grown by smallholder farmers. And therefore, to touch on the issue of food security, there must be a special provision for smallholder farmers to be able to grow maize that can feed the country. But unfortunately, I didn't see anything in the speech touching on food security as a necessity for Malawians. And it is really very saddening indeed, because what's going to happen is that everybody else will have money, I hope so, but smallholder farmers will not have enough or any money to help them grow maize and feed the country. We also know as a fact in this country that almost all financial institutions in the country avoid lending money to smallholder farmers because they believe that they may not be able to get back their money. And therefore, there has to be a special provision in the budget, in the thinking of government at the highest level, to prioritize food security and put it as a special item in the budget in order that smallholder farmers may be assisted to have the means to produce enough maize in the country. I'm glad that you have raised that historical issue, because what happened was that when IMF and World Bank compelled us as a country to remove subsidy, universal subsidy on fertilizer, it became very clear that I'm talking historically now at the time when Startup Act was introduced, we realized that if the subsidy was removed from every farmer in the country, the problem would be that smallholder farmers would not be able to afford fertilizer in order to grow maize as a staple food. So government at the time, and I was part of government, I was involved in the program, realized that if we remove the subsidy completely, then we would have problems with smallholder farmers, and that in turn would entail hunger in the country. So government deliberately introduced form of subsidy in the form of Startup Act at the time in order to ensure that smallholder farmers would get easy fertilizer and be able to grow enough maize to feed the country. And the program worked well. But unfortunately, that program is having difficulties these days. I can underline some of the difficulties. Fertilizer now is being sold from butcheries, pharmaceutical companies, or companies that do not sell fertilizer at all. Additionally, the provision of subsidized fertilizer is cut very, very seriously now. Most of the farmers don't get, actually in most villages, maybe one person or two people will get subsidized fertilizer. The rest of the villagers will not get it at all, which is saddening because it is undermining food security in the country. And let me emphasize, food security in the country should be given priority, so that whatever we may beg from donors outside should not involve food. We should be able to grow enough food because we have got good rains that come in this country. Our people are hardworking and our soils are generally good. And therefore, there is no excuse for Malawians not growing enough food simply because government is not giving food security a priority.